So this session is going to be all around customer engagement strategy and how to really take it to the next level next year. And so I'm going to be joined today by my colleague, Ermina, and we're going to just walk you through a couple of interesting things. First, kind of walking through some of the survey insights. We did this recent survey and research around customer engagement. It hasn't published yet, so you're going to get a sneak peek of what some of those insights look like. We're also going to talk to you around some of the challenges of delivering a great experience and some trends and best practices to really amplify your strategy. And then followed by how you can apply a great customer experience across the customer lifecycle and be able to scale that. So first, we're going to go through some of the research. It's really, really exciting, this report. We did this earlier this year, just recognizing there's been a lot of challenges with COVID-19 and how brands are adapting to that and how they're engaging with consumers. And so we did a survey for North America and Europe. We had about 1,000 consumers respond to this survey. And we had some interesting insights that came out of it. And so I'm just going to share a couple of these with you. We do have a report coming out very soon. This data specifically is North America data, but if you wanted to look at it at a country level or at a regional level, you'll be able to do that in the report. So the first question we asked was really around, from a consumer perspective, what channel do you prefer to communicate with brands or have brands communicate with you? And so, no surprise, consumers want to be communicated with on a mix of channels. Email is still very much a top channel. However, the website, social, and mobile channels are gaining some traction. In terms of frequency, I think this is something that most brands always struggle with. I think sometimes, we get into this means of batch sending, where we're just sending something out on a daily basis or on a weekly basis, depending on what the content is. But we have to remember that consumers are all different, right? You're going to have some consumers that want to engage with you daily. You're going to have others that want to engage with you quarterly or weekly or monthly, or even if there's, specific times of the year. So maybe you have consumers that engage with you only during the holidays if you're a retail brand. You may not necessarily want to send them communications as often as maybe some of your more repeat or loyal customers. And so we did find that, weekly was definitely the preference in terms of how consumers want to receive communications from brands. But, some people even said, I think 16% said that frequency doesn't matter as long as the information is relevant. So just something to keep in mind. And then personalization. I think consumers have become very savvy over the last couple of years, really ever since GDPR started getting rolled out. A lot of consumers have the understanding that brands do collect information on them. And some people are against that, but others, are okay with providing their information as long as it's being used in the right way and being used in a private way and in secure way. And so consumers, being as savvy as they are, they understand that communication should be personalized for them. Their experience should be personalized for them. So we wanted to find out, okay, out of the different types of communications you're receiving, how do you expect that to be personalized and relevant to you? And so a couple of the things that stood out, definitely consumers want communications and campaigns and messages to be personalized based on purchase history, known interests, as well as preferences. So preferences could be that communication frequency, or it could be maybe topic or type of content. And when experiences are not personalized, it can be a little frustrating for consumers. I just want to speak from a personal example. We bought a new house in the last year or so, and I still receive messages from my bank about new mortgage rates. And so for me, they should know that I purchased a home using them as my company to be able to secure that loan. And so I think this can be frustrating for a person when you're getting communications that are irrelevant. And so we wanted to understand, a little bit about what frustrates a consumer with a brand in terms of the experience as well as the communication. And so number one was when brands send inconsistent messages across channels. So that would mean, if a brand is sending you a message on the website or on email that's different from what you may be receiving in your mobile app. Other is, followed by with brands sending irrelevant messages, so messages that aren't meaningful. And lastly, message frequency. And then just some preferred content and messages from brands. I thought this one was interesting too, because, brands, we send all different kinds of messages, right? Now this one, what we found is that, most consumers still prefer to get promotional offers or coupons, sales and campaigns information first, but new products and services are definitely top interest too. And then this last one that we're going to show you today, and definitely, again, go to the report, get a lot of other insights. These are just some of the things that we asked, but we wanted to understand just how expectations were changing with consumers and brand engagement. Obviously, with COVID-19, a lot of brands had to quickly pivot to start communicating with consumers online. How is that going to kind of shake out the rest of this year, even next year? And so, what we found is that consumers are likely to do both. Those consumers that may have been more traditional have started to pivot online, but they do still have the desire to be in person. And then you can kind of see it's pretty close in terms of those who are more online only, and then those who shop in person. So it's kind of an even split, but definitely the hybrid model, I think, is what we'll expect to see the rest of this year. And we definitely looked at different age segments too. And so it's interesting to kind of look at the comparison between an older demographic and then the younger demographic. So I wanted to share these takeaways before we really jump into some of the best practices, because we find that for a brand, you really need to have best practices that are aligned with consumers. And so some of the takeaways here is that consumers, of course, have very high expectations from brands. And I think we can all agree that if you have poor experience or a frustrating experience, that it will lead to some frustration, and it could actually be very damaging to your brand. And so I think each company needs to really understand that every individual has these unique requirements, and they need to be able to deliver a personalized and relevant experience for them, because that's what consumers are expecting now. And so, bottom line here is that personalization and omnichannel marketing is going to become even more critical this year to engage with customers, both now and in the future. And so, when we're talking about a consistent experience, before I pass it over to Armina, I wanted to just kind of break down some of the challenges that we often see here at MoEngage. We have customers that come to us that are challenged by not being able to bring new campaigns to market quickly. They're relying on developers. They're not able to move fast. They aren't able to really connect with the customers that they want to connect with in a timely manner. They may be because they have too many marketing tools, or they may have a complex environment, or they may have siloed channels. And for them, not being able to understand, where each individual's unique interests and behaviors are within those channels, it's very difficult to personalize the experience. So when you have data that lives kind of everywhere and it's disconnected, it's inaccessible, it's really hard to put that piece together and create something that's more holistic for each individual. And so data is definitely a challenge that we often hear, but I think the inability to understand that data is even more of a challenge. So having a bunch of data and different tools doesn't mean anything if you're not able to decipher what's working for you and how that data is impacting your business strategy. Noticing, when you're losing customers in their journey, or are you sending too many messages? Or are you sending too few messages? And being able to see that across your different customers and not individually, I think is an important part of being able to deliver that consistent experience. And so what we try to help here with MoEngage is really being able to allow customers to have that visibility, but also giving them the tools to be able to act on that. And so Armina's going to talk to you about some of the trends that we're seeing and walk through some best practices there. So over to you, Armina.
Thank you so much, Megan. It is important to be aware of the challenges in delivering a consistent customer experience, but it is equally important to be aware of all the opportunities that lie ahead of us. So let's have a look at the emerging trends and the best practices that could help us overcome some of the challenges and improve our customer engagement. So the first one, and it is the biggest challenge that we hear about from our customers, is from the companies that come to us, is this ability to capture all the customer data in one platform in order to create a holistic customer view. So user data is often scattered across CRMs and other tech stacks, and this is why insight-led customer engagement that is driven by artificial intelligence, personalization, and unified customer data allows marketeers to shift their engagement paradigm to one that starts with analyzing user data, getting a deeper understanding of our customers and their interactions with the brand, so we can plan our campaigns in the optimal manner, execute them, measure the success almost at the same time, which allows us to course correct immediately, keeping and keep adapting our campaigns and changing as our users' behaviors and needs are changing. Another trend that seems to be universal across industries is the increased interest in artificial intelligence and machine learning technologies. And artificial intelligence, when used properly, can become marketeer superpower, can make the campaigns more effective, minimize the effort to analyze the data, and automatically suggest the right tactics for the next step in the customer journey. Another trend is the acceleration of digital initiatives. So the pandemic forced companies to accelerate digital transformation like never before. And brands that haven't made enough progress in the digital channels are missing out on significant revenue opportunities. And marketeers and customer services team must work very closely with IT and technology vendors to create new ways to move customer transactions to digital. And this is true across every industry, from retail to healthcare to customer financial services. Personalization is a make or break requirement nowadays. Much like digital transformation, personalization was once considered a nice to have that helped brands to differentiate themselves against the competitors. And the pandemic has escalated the urgency for personalization as customers' expectations of brands have increased exponentially. So we see that customers expect brands to go that extra mile to anticipate their needs based on their last interactions with the brands. And thanks to insight-led communications, brands can personalize the engagement and create unique experiences for each customer. Finally, omnichannel or multi-channel campaigns that are even more critical than ever, with the in-store and in-person experiences that are still limited due to the pandemic. Marketeers have to reach their customers where they are and start creating moment-based strategies where they meet customer expectations across their customer journey and create unique experiences. So if we could go to the next slide and look at the customer journey. So there are many ways to look at the customer lifecycle, and we know that customers are moving across devices between the web, mobile, social media, and sometimes physical store. So at Mo Engage, we mapped out this customer lifecycle journey that shows us the best engagement channels at every stage of our customer lifecycle, from awareness, discovery through first purchase, conversion, and loyalty. And the aim of this customer lifecycle approach is to keep delivering value and creating consistent brand experiences across different stages, independently of where the customers are. So for example, at the reach stage where the prospects are gathering awareness of our brand, it might be more advisable to focus on our marketing efforts on the content marketing and other demand generation activities. And after the first purchase, it might be a great idea to start exploring other tactics such as remarketing or omnichannel marketing. So let's look at the different stages in more detail. So the first phase, reach, is called also discovery or awareness. And during this phase, our customers or prospects come in contact with our business, and it might be possible through several online and offline and in-store channels. So some examples here include TV ads, online searches, cold emails, events. And this is a great opportunity to send promo codes or special discounts to encourage our prospects to check our brand and get more information. The second phase, act, is where the customer acquires the first product or service from our brand. You can highlight the value of the product or service and encourage them to make the first purchase. And at this point, the most effective tactics that could be used are remarketing, personalized messaging, affiliate marketing, and this helps the prospects to enhance their awareness and also make decisions and create great moments. Uh, and we can use here promo codes, discounts, or other calls to actions. The next stage, convert, allows our one-time buyers to repeat the purchase, and it's crucial in the customer lifecycle marketing. And here we can start using personalized marketing tactics such as omnichannel conversational commerce, and the more personalized communications and offers that we can create at this point, the higher the chances are that our regular customers become loyal brand advocates, which is a dream of every marketeer. And the tactics that we use here take us to the last stage, which is engagement, where our loyal customers receive hyper-personalized shopping experience and priority services. And we can use here channels such as SMS, email, mobile, and anything that helps us retain our customers. And this approach gives us an overview of a more holistic customer engagement strategy across the life cycle. But this question remains, how do we scale? And if we move to the next slide, we can see that in order to scale, brands need to have this ability to easily analyze, segment, engage, personalize, and optimize customer engagement across omnichannel touchpoints in order to create this deeper, like more meaningful connection with the customers. So now I want to show you how the customer engagement platform can help you scale your strategy. And we'll share an example from the perspective of Mo Engage, but you can also leverage these best practices with other engagement platforms, or if you're using any other MarTech tools or creating it manually. So as we mentioned, one of the biggest challenges and also opportunities was to create this unified view of a customer. So one of the best practices to get a single unified view of the customer with one platform for marketing insights and engagement. And obviously user characteristics such as like name, age, email are very important. But most of us have already access to these data with our CRM and marketing automation tools. But other criteria is also important. And the more granular we are with the data that we capture, the more personal our messages could be. So our platform makes it very easy for marketeers to collect native data, but also consolidate customer data from across multiple systems, including your app, websites, CRM, points of sale systems, data warehouses, and more, so you can build a 360 view of the customer. You can even pull in transactional data and offline CSV files from physical stores and branches. So let's move to the next one. So rather than planning first, you need to understand your users, and create a unified profile view can help. But then the best practice is to see how our campaigns and users are interacting. And this is possible when we look at our user path analysis across the customer journey. And just to give you an example from our customers who started analyzing the behavior of the users using our user path analysis, they were able to get a 45% increase in conversions. And we can mention here brands such as Credivo or Empiricus from the financial sector. And with our platform, you can uncover and visualize the paths that our customers take while navigating their customer touchpoints, and find best paths to improve their user experience so you can increase the conversions and reduce churn. And this is very beneficial and makes marketeers' life easier because it takes the guesswork out of our customer analysis and allows us to stay on top of changing trends without drowning in data. And we can get precise insights from our data, starting with the onboarding, engagement, and create campaigns that are optimal and or driving our conversions throughout the customer lifecycle. If we could move to the next one. Another best practice is understanding the segmentation of our customers and being able to segment our customers based on the frequency, but also recency and monetary value. So we can understand better who are the loyal customers, which customers are most likely to churn, but also use the insights to start creating re-engagement campaigns and other loyalty programs that would allow us to maximize lifetime value of our customers. And what is interesting is that our customers are not static and they will be moving and evolving. That's why with our platform, if we could go to the next slide, we are very concerned with the optimizing the customer lifetime value, but also creating a very natural data visualization of movement among our customers. So, for example, the customers that were at the risk of churn or needed attention, they might move to another category and they might be promising, or they would need different marketing efforts. And because our customers are evolving, their needs are changing. We should be able to capture this data and understand how our campaigns are impacting the behavior of our customers, but also spot which efforts are not working so we can keep optimizing and experimenting and creating the more personalized experiences and for our customers across their customer life cycle and across different channels. So experiences can be created in different ways. So one of them is personalizing our messaging with dynamic content. And here we are moving towards this one-to-one engagement that every user wants to have with the brand. And there are multiple ways we can leverage dynamic content. Here are a few examples on the slide, such as recommended content based on the previous consumed materials or personalized offers. And our customers want us to be able to predict their wants, their needs based on their interactions with the brand, and the offers that they want to see need to be personalized. So when we look at the customer engagement channels, we know that customers are very unique. And while we are always recommend best practices and best performing channel, you need to be able to create relevant experiences across the channels, which can be very challenging if you don't have a tool or a data that is enabling you to capture the unique view of the customer and create unique experiences across channels. And our platform enables marketeers to start with their digital strategy exactly where they are with any channel. So thank you so much for spending the time with us and learning about the customer engagement strategy and trends that are emerging. And if you have any additional questions, please send me or Megan an email and we'll be very happy to follow up with you.